For quite some time now, artificial intelligence has really been trapped behind glass screens. But as we look ahead to 2026, all the data confirms a singular, critical shift is happening. The focus, you see, is no longer just on what an AI can say, but on what it can actually do and what it can touch.
You know, there's a lot of noise out there right now about CES 2026, a lot of speculation about GPT-6. But there's one truth that really cuts through all that hype, and it's this. AI is making a physical pivot. What we're witnessing is the moment the compute stack finally breaks out of the data center and begins to enter our physical world.
All right, so here's how we'll break this down. First, we'll look at the core shift. Then, we'll examine the evidence split into physical deployment and architectural evolution. We'll map that onto the 2026 timeline, and finally, we'll get to the verdict.
So, Section 1, the core shift, from digital experiment to tangible reality. The central thesis here is really straightforward. 2026 marks a two-pronged advance. We're seeing AI move into the tangible, physical world around us, and at the same time, it's moving into our personal sphere in a way we've just never seen before.
So AI's next evolution really isn't just about a better chatbot, it's the convergence of a physical body with a personal mind. And it's crucial to understand that these two advances are linked. On one hand, AI is getting a physical body, hands and eyes, through robotics. And at the very same time, it's gaining a personal mind with persistent memory and real agency through these new model architectures. One really can't function without the other.
Okay, let's get into the first layer of evidence, the physical deployment. And we'll be looking at the CES 2026 landscape to see what's happening. What we're observing here is a clear strategic escalation. You've got Hyundai, which has confirmed its AI robotics strategy for the industrial sector. But then, almost concurrently, you have companies like LG and Samsung bringing that same kind of intelligence into the domestic sphere. We're seeing a direct pipeline from the factory floor straight into our living room.
And I want to be clear, this isn't just conceptual stuff. The hardware is getting incredibly sophisticated. Hyundai is giving the next-gen Atlas robot its first public debut. Think about that. LG is showing off its Clo ID robot, which has 2 arms, and each hand has 5 individually actuated fingers. That's for really complex manipulation. And then Samsung is embedding Google Gemini directly into appliances like refrigerators for AI vision. The point is, the physical interface for AI is maturing, and it's maturing fast.
Now, of course, none of this physical deployment is possible without the underlying compute stack. And this is the crucial part. You've got Nvidia's CEO Jensen Huang giving a keynote specifically on AI, simulation, and physical systems. Intel is launching its Panther Lake Core Ultra Series 3 processors built on that 18 Angstrom process. And we expect AMD's CEO Lisa Su to cover similar ground. This isn't a coincidence. The hardware is being purpose-built to power this very physical pivot.
All right, but a body is pretty useless without a brain, so let's pivot now to the second layer of evidence, the architectural evolution. We're talking about the brains behind the body. If you look at the generational leap from GPT-4 to the expected GPT-6, the strategic progression is crystal clear. GPT-4, back in 2023, was really all about multimodality and reasoning. Then, GPT-5 in 2025 shifted to a system of highly specialized, almost PhD-level models focused on efficiency. But the predicted leap with GPT-6 is an entirely different focus. We're talking personalization and agency. This seems to be the final piece of the puzzle needed to create a true do-everything assistant.
And just to give you a sense of the scale of this change, look at the token context window. GPT-5 has a window of over 256,000 tokens. That's an 8x leap from GPT-4. What does that mean? It means the AI went from being able to analyze a long article to being able to analyze an entire book in one go. This isn't an incremental update. It's a massive step change in cognitive capacity, and it absolutely sets the stage for what's coming next.
So this brings us to what many believe will be the key shift for GPT-6, agent-like behavior. This is the ability to handle complex, multi-step tasks without constant supervision. Things like browsing the web, filling out forms, even making purchases, all autonomously. It's the difference between asking an AI, "What are some good vacation spots?" and simply telling it, "Plan and book my entire vacation." It transforms the AI from a passive tool into an active agent.
But maybe the most profound architectural shift of all is this idea of persistent long-term memory. We're not just talking about remembering the last thing you said in a single session. We're talking about building an understanding over weeks, months, even years. An AI that actually learns your preferences, your communication style, your personal history, This is the personal mind that's designed to inhabit that physical body we were just talking about.
So the question is, how do these two streams of evidence, the physical hardware and the architectural evolution, actually converge? Let's map it out on a timeline.
When you lay out the dates, the convergence becomes undeniable. The year kicks off on January 5th with Hyundai's AI robotics strategy. That's immediately followed by the CES show floor, where we'll see physical AI from LG, Samsung, and others. Then, the predicted launch window for GPT-6 is sometime between the second and fourth quarters of 2026. You see, the brain is arriving just as the body becomes widely available. These deployments are happening in lockstep.
Which brings us to the verdict. The strategic implication here isn't about new gadgets or a slightly better chatbot. What we're looking at is a fundamental replatforming of how we interact with computation and really with the world itself.
So the final question we have to consider is this. When an AI has a physical body, when it remembers your past, and when it has the agency to act on its own, can we still call it a tool? Or is it becoming a colleague, or perhaps a competitor?